Hi Pottery peeps. So I just threw the egg trays and it went really well being on the wheel, which makes me, you have no idea how happy it makes me. My happiest place is out here in the studio, and it's been really frustrating the last year with the 3 knee surgeries, 2 knee replacements and a reconstruction, that this is the only place I want to be. And so today, being on the wheel, I feel like I'm on the best high ever. So I am going to, I probably won't put this video up until later in the week or next weekend, I don't know. So you're just gonna have to wait. But I figure, let's do something fun. So what I'm gonna show you is, I don't have you on my tripod, so I don't know if I can get you low enough. So this is Terra Red. Terra Red is becoming one of my favorite clays. It is very dark, very smooth red. I mean, like silky smooth. It's just beautiful. But if I want to add it to the Bmix, you can do this with any clay as long as they have the same shrinkage rate. So I'm gonna throw a donut with these colors marbled, and we're gonna let the wheel marble them. So I've got 2.5, and I know from previous times when I have added darker clays to the Bmix that I need to have more Bmix than the darker clay. So I'm gonna go for probably, oh heck, I've been doing 4 pounds. Let's stick to 4 pounds. I did 4 pounds on the deviled egg trays, so we'll do 4 pounds on this one too, and we'll give it a try. Since we're gonna do some spring cleaning in the studio now that the weather's getting better, might as well bring up, get the red. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the red and I'm gonna just slice it into a whole bunch of little slices. This is called marbling clay or agate ware. It goes by a bunch of different names. So with the red clay or the white clay, I'm just gonna sandwich them. I'm not gonna be too particular. You can't be particular about this. You just have to go with it, which is, if you've been watching for a while, you know that I'm very much one who likes to go with the flow. All right, so I've made myself a red and white sandwich. And then I'm going to wedge it, but I'm not going to over wedge it. If I over wedge it, then it's going to blend these colors too much. And I really want to see what the wheel's going to do. So, but I can, if you want to kind of, well, actually that's looking pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so let's go to the wheel and let's throw, I'm going to do a donut base. And I kind of want to leave these colors. I don't want to, in my mind, I don't want to glaze the outside of this when it's done. I want the clay to be the star. Because when you do this type of stuff, it is the star. All right, let's go to the wheel. Okay, so I don't know if this will work. I got a problem with sun coming in my window. I love my windows, I absolutely do. But for filming, it's actually becoming a problem. So I actually might end up having to switch to doing videos either early in the morning or later in the evening. Okay, so I've got about 4 pounds here. And we're going to, this is slap centering. Just get your wheel going a little bit and take your hands. Try to get that into the center. And then we're just going to center it. If you've been watching for a while, you probably have heard me talk about making a donut is actually one of my favorite things to do. They're a little challenging. They're a fun shape. It's really cool to see clay in a donut form. And there's so many things that you can do with them that just makes it really fun. But I've never done it to where I've marbled the clay. So this will be fun too. This time of year I'm always thinking vases or those kind of things. So I think that's about what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to open this all the way to the wheel head. I'm throwing on a Hydro Bat. Hydro Bats are awesome for projects like this because they wick the water from the clay from the bottom and then they just pop off. The clay also really likes to stick to it at this stage. And then I'm going to split this, go down. You could check it. I probably should check it. Make sure I'm not too far down. And I'm too far down. That is too far down. That's 1/8 of an inch. I am really notorious for making thin bottoms, but this we're going to trim, so I don't want it that thin. So I'm just going to still clay from the sides and push it back down to the bottom. Right. Now we're going to pull at the center. Just make yourself a cylinder. You want to keep this top part fairly beefy because you're going to be pulling that and joining it to the other side and making your hollow form or closed form. And then I'm just going to pull this wall up. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I've got plenty of clay on the bottom here. Now I'm going to pull this up. And when you're doing these, try not to knock them like I just did. But I do tend to, you know, I want that donut shape, so I'm thinking of that when I'm pulling the inside. So I'm not really doing a straight wall. It's kind of a curved wall. So I'm curving that out and then pushing that back in. I want to get all the water out of the middle. You don't want to trap any water when you go to close these. I'm going to just push that wall in just a little bit more. And then I'm going to hold this to meet it. Make them join here. I'm using my sponge just so that I don't leave any water in there, but I also don't want it grabbing my hands. Probably have too much. No, this looks like it'll work. I can put more water here so my hand glides on the inside. And then I'm just going to pull it out and literally drop it on top of the other side. So I do want to make sure I don't have any excess slip as I get to doing this. And I'm going to hold this and just push it down. And I do this fairly slow. You're wanting to encourage the clay. Anytime you force clay, it bites back, it cracks, it does all sorts of fun things. It doesn't like to be forced. It likes to be coaxed. Seduce it into doing what you want it to do. All right. How pretty is that? Okay, now take your metal rib and you want to really join these together. You're just going to go over and over where they came together. Just encourage that connection. And since we've got the metal rib, it's going to take the slip off of this and reveal our design. We'll see more of it too when we trim it, or when I trim it. It's just like you're in the room with me. Oh, that's going to be pretty, really pretty on the inside. I probably could have done less red and more white, even though I did, what, a pound of, I think I did 1.5 pounds of the red and 2.5 pounds of the white. Should probably do a pound of the red and 3 pounds of the white. So I'm just going to continue to shape, continue to go over where that joint is, and then I'm going to let it sit out and dry and then trim it later. And then we'll really get to see the true colors. This is actually a really fat donut. Okay, that's it for now until it dries out. It is the next day and I'm going to go ahead and trim this. It's already, I actually ended up wiring it off of the bat, which is why you see all the pretty, pretty marbling. Ooh, love it. So now we're gonna finish shaping this. This is our shape to begin with. And then we're going to trim this. And basically when you're trimming these, whoops, you are, you want to mimic the other side. This is my favorite stage of trimming, when it comes off in ribbons like this and doesn't stick to the tool. So when I'm trimming these, I tend to not trim this until the very end. I'm concentrating on the outside and then I'll move to the inside. And since we're marbling this, or we've marbled the clay, we will end up trimming the whole side of this to bring out all that lovely color. So I'm just trying to get my shape, mimicking what was on the other side. And the nice thing about these donuts is a lot of the trimming tends to go right in the middle of the hole. So now I'm just going to do the inside. Just taking off that clay. And I know that I have, I felt this, you do need to kind of tap around, make sure you're not getting too thin, because when you are doing pottery and you get into trimming, you will trim through pots. I still trim through pots. It's just part of it. So sometimes you can fix it, most of the times you can't. So I will go over, like I said, this last part at the very end, because I know that that's where way I throw and so forth, that is where I'm going to be the thinnest. Okay. Nice thing about a Giffen grip is you can just go ahead and take it off and you can check to see where you're at. Oh, look how pretty that is. It's going to be so pretty. so you can check to see where you're at. And right now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and do a very, very thin trim. And what I'm looking to do is I'm just looking to get that slurry, that slip that's dried there, so I can reveal the marble pattern. So I'm just going to slightly go over it, and then I'll show you how I'm going to finish this. I've got a tip for you. And this, of course, right here is where we joined it. So we'll spend a little bit of time there, making sure. Now normally, if I'm not marbled, I don't spend this kind of time going over the whole piece. There's no need. But because I want to reveal all that lovely pattern, I will. So basically check it over, look at it from all sides, and that looks pretty dang good if I do say so myself. God, that's pretty. Lovely, lovely. Okay, I'm going to move you over to the table and we'll finish this guy off. Okay, there are many ways that you can finish these off. It's really, you're limited by your imagination. This one, I put the hole off center, so it's coming off here and the bottom's here. And you can throw bases, like if you watch the Tree of Life urn that I made. You can throw bases, you can throw the spouts, you can do all that, or you can leave them here, or leave them just alone. You can also finish them this way, put little feet on them and put holes in the top for all the little flowers that kids bring you. They just bring you the flower, they don't bring you a stem. So this is a good way to do a flower ring base. This one, I love. The marbling to me is the art. I don't plan to glaze these. I plan to leave them raw. I will glaze the inside so they can hold water. And so I want to have minimal things going on. I want the clay itself to be the star. And so I'm going to go ahead and put, let's see, I've done a couple with the coming right at the top. So this one, ooh, both sides. I mean, how do you choose? That side? Or do you choose that side? Ooh, I like this. So maybe I'll put the hole over here. Okay, so I just, just take one of these. Actually, let me lower you down. You don't need to be looking at me. All right, so what I'm gonna do is decide where I'm gonna put my hole. And now, when you have a marbled piece, no matter what it is, you need to be really, really careful with the water, because you've already trimmed this, and the minute you add water, you're going to create slip. So I want that to be smooth, of course, but I don't want any water dripping down, because I now have created slip. It will ruin, it will cover the pattern. So after that dries, you can see where it's already blurred the pattern. After that dries, I'll take a metal rib and just scrape it. So now I got to figure out where I'm going to put, how I want it to stand. So if I want it here, so I'm just gonna, now this is where I'm gonna give you a tip. This is leather hard. You can do two things to make sure, because I've had so many of these where I will really pound it, really make my flat bottom. But in the kiln, as we know, clay has a memory. You don't see it until the glaze fire when it gets that extreme heat. It will blow, it'll blow itself back out enough to where you'll still have a flat spot, but it'll be really rocky. So I have, one thing you can do is cut your hole here and add a flat slab, and then it gets rid of all the memory. And so it doesn't remember that it once was completely round. Another way you can do that, if you don't want to do that, is to flatten this out, and this is just the egg. I want to actually put an impression in here and make it, push this in enough that if it bloats out, it's not going to make it rocky. And then when this dries, I'll show you one that I've done. So I also got to make sure that I'm doing this. Look at it straight on so that you're not over here, and so you're not over here and you're not over here. So I will come in with my finger and compress this and try to create a new memory so that it doesn't, you got to hit this at the right spot, otherwise it'll crack in here, and you don't want that to happen. All right. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit up. This one is actually done exactly the same way. So I pressed it in, and then if you'll notice how flat that is, what I've done after it dries, I'll put it on a flat table and I'll very carefully do this. And that will sand, you can see the clay, that will sand and make me a really smooth place for this. So it's got a place to stand, it'll be level and hopefully not rock. So, and I will dry these slow. Okay. Anyway, I hope that helps. These can be a little tricky, but they are super, super fun to do. You can do so many different things with them. You've seen the Tree of Life. Let me pull this one out. Excuse the dust. We're doing spring cleaning. But you can do stuff like this with them. This would be beautiful with a marbled clay. You can cut them in half and do, let me see if I can reach this one. Again, really dusty. Whoa, don't do that. So you can do half ones. Such a fun shape, and you'll probably see me do a lot of donuts because I like making donuts. I mean, who doesn't like donuts, right? Anyway, I do, like I said, I don't plan to glaze these. I'm just going to let the clay be the star, and hopefully we'll see them next week. So my video, actually, I'm going to put you on hold and I'll show you what I'm going to do next. All right, so that's it for today. Next week, I'm going to show you how to do birdhouses, which includes another clothes form. So I can keep throwing these clothes forms at you, but they're so fun to do. And then, heck, we might as well just stick with clothes forms this month, because my next thought, I've been asked to do a bunch of penny banks. I have really, really cute hedgehogs that I make, and I don't have any, and I've got an order for some. So stay tuned. We got rain here today, 80 degrees yesterday, predicted snow today. That's Utah for you. All right, so this one, when it just came out so pretty that I decided it'd be a great flower ring. And if you watch the Pottery Corner, Sarah, I don't know when she did it, a couple of years ago, I think she's got a video on how to make these too. Possibly hand building, like with an extruder. I can't remember because, you know, I got too many things in my mind, too many things to make, so my memory's not the best. But anyway, I thought it would make, and I've made a couple of these flower rings before. I made a really small one for my grandson because he's always picking the flowers, dandelions, whatever. But this is so pretty. I debated putting feet on it, but what I'm gonna do, since it's so pretty, I'm gonna get some of those glass pebbles, the clear glass pebbles that you put like in fish tanks or aquariums, that kind of thing, and I'm gonna epoxy them or glue them with that E6000 or 600, 6000, I don't know. I'm gonna do that after, just so that the clay itself is the showpiece. Anyway, I hope you liked this tutorial, and fires up your imagination. Would love to see what you make. And if you do marble clay, you can also color your Bmix with mason stains. That's a whole other thing, and there's other people out there that are doing that. But this is a quick and easy way to get marbled clay. The number one thing is to make sure your shrinkage rate is the same. You don't want to do Bmix that's, you know, or 10 or 12%, depending on your Bmix, with a clay that's 14%, because then the marbling could crack, all right, when you fire it or when it dries. So, but I hope you start thinking of different things that you can make. I mean, this is, to me, this is just art on its own. I just think, God, just look how pretty that is. Look at all that. And the wheel made the art. Love that. Just throwing on the wheel. So anyway, next week we're doing birdhouses. So if I can find a picture, I'll put one here. Kind of what we do. Every birdhouse is its own little house. So each one we make will turn out different. So I'll give you an idea how I make mine. I hope you have a great weekend, and subscribe, like, comment. I answer all the comments, and we will see you in the next one.